Hey everybody, my name is Paul, I'm the Lost Scot, and welcome to my first look at Soccer Story by PanicBarn. And I will be calling it Soccer Story rather than Football Story, not just because that's its name, but because the word football doesn't refer to people hitting a ball with their feet. It's actually because it's a ball game played on foot rather than on horseback. And now you've learned something in the first 30 seconds of this video. You're welcome. Before we continue, I just want to remind you that I stream indie games like this on Twitch and I have first look videos as often as I can. So please think about hitting that subscribe button like you're grabbing your leg after an aggressive tackle. Let's get to the game. Out of the gate, the graphical style is going to jump out at you. Voxels are unfortunately everywhere and I feel like the gaming world in general is kind of over it at this point, but I really like the tilt shift effect on everything here. It makes everything look like miniature figurines, which is really cute. Soccer Story isn't the only game to do it, but it does work well with the type of game this is. Likewise, for better or worse, the music is very JRPG-esque, reminding me a lot of some older games like Secret of Mana or the classic Final Fantasies. Now, I actually found that because it's an open world and there's no way to make the music infinitely long, you hear it looping a lot. It's the same thing that made me turn off the music back in my MMO days. That endless repetition of the same few minutes of music really gets on my nerves after a while, but obviously depending on your tolerance, your mileage might vary. The actual game of football is going to polarise a lot of the audience. It's obviously way more simple than FIFA or Pro Evo, but it has its own very strict and interesting takes on the beautiful game. Passing is not just recommended but necessary, as you'll get absolutely demolished if you try to hold onto the ball for more than a couple of seconds. There are no fouls, so you need to take out everyone's legs to get the ball. I played my first couple of games trying not to knock over the kids, but I didn't start making any progress until I ignored what I learned in other soccer games and just started mowing them all down. But the games that you play as part of the story are hard. Thankfully there is an option on the main menu to drop straight into exhibition matches if that's what you're here for, or if you want some more practice. And that's going to help you out because of my next point. The checkpointing in the story matches is awful. When you lose a game, you need to sit through the post-match conversation talking about the fact that you lost. Then, you need to run back to the coach's office to restart the match, even though he's on the pitch with you, and confirm you want to play again. Then, you need to sit through the pre-match conversation again every single time you lose. And I lost my first game a lot, something that I don't think is too surprising. I found it super frustrating, and it's either an accident because the developers don't think people are going to lose much, or it's a deliberate way of artificially padding the game's playtime. It's probably something that could be fixed in a patch, so I guess we'll see. The matches themselves play pretty nicely, although there are some game-specific quirks you need to learn. Goalies are confined to the box, but other players can't enter it, so if the ball bounces off the keeper, you need to stand around and wait for them to get up and walk over to the ball before play can continue. In fact, I've had so many little frustrating bits of play around the edge of the goal that I just recommend backing all the way off and waiting to take down the player who gets the ball, otherwise you would just get demolished. But if what you're looking for is a soccer game, then this isn't the one you want. We'll get to that in a minute. Although soccer is in the title and is the theme of the game, the act of actually playing soccer is a pretty minor part of Soccer Story. It's a JRPG at heart, so if you go in expecting a lot of sport, then you could be very disappointed. And this is where I think things start to fall apart a little bit. There's nothing wrong with the story at all. I think the concept of an apocalyptic event related to playing soccer is pretty interesting. I like being a mage in a wizard world that banned magic. There's definitely something intriguing about what happened and how you're going to overcome it. There's even a lot of fun stuff done with the basic main mechanic of kicking a ball around, from finding hidden objects to hitting triggers you can't reach on foot. My problem is with the missions and quests that the characters assign to you. After a couple of hours, I realised that it was just a selection of minigames spread out over a large map. Or rather, it's mostly one minigame. There are so many find X number of things missions that it feels a bit like the developers ran out of ideas. I kept being surprised when I found a new character, and the first thing they asked me to do was fetch them 5 of something. And while there is a map screen, there's no way to add custom waypoints to it or have it auto-populate with the things you've seen. Now, I know I complain about collectathon maps in other open world games, but at least they don't hide it and they're almost always optional content. Soccer Story has hundreds of them, they're hidden away, and they're often a mandatory part of story progression. And because part of my ADHD is struggling with navigation memory, I had a really hard time progressing when the game just won't let me continue until I'd found all 5 golden sticks or whatever. So here's the list of completed collections so far. Do 15 slide tackles to find carrots. Pass the ball into 6 bins. Kick the ball into 5 goals. Recruit 3 teammates. Destroy 5 janitor boxes. Convince 5 OAPs to play. Hit the crossbar 5 times. Those aren't achievements or optional side quests, those are all part of the story. The side quests I've found so far are: find 6 medals, hit 20 woodland targets, hit 6 Soccertown targets, find 29 hidden goals, find 9 ticket stubs. It's ridiculous! And those are only the ones with numbers attached to them in my quest list. There are a few other missions where I needed to find a number of things for characters, and the list just doesn't mention how many I got. It feels like busy work, and I eventually lost patience when it started feeling like the game was mocking me a little bit. I don't have any interest in those kinds of collect tasks when they're a bonus outside of the story content, but I really can't stand when it's an actual requirement just to progress. That's when I realised I was done with Soccer Story and pulled the plug. So now onto the accessibility options. This will be quick because there are none. As I mentioned earlier, you can change the difficulty level of the soccer games themselves, which is nice. The crossover between soccer game lovers and JRPG lovers is probably not that much, so it's good that you can tweak that. But there's no colorblind options or audio descriptions available. All the dialogue is in text form and you need to manually progress the conversation boxes, so you shouldn't miss anything even if it takes you a little longer to read them. The font is also fairly clear and easy to read for anyone who has difficulty in that area. It's disappointing to see so few options, but I think Soccer Story's genre actually helps it out here. As long as you can physically move your character around the space while also hitting a button, you'll probably be okay. So while the soccer game itself is pretty entertaining, once you learn the quirks, and the art style is cute, it doesn't hide the fact that the vast majority of your time in Soccer Story is going to be walking around the world trying to find a set number of things without a useful map to guide you. There are way better JRPGs out there if that's what you want, and if you're looking for a silly soccer game that doesn't take itself seriously, then you'd be much better looking at Behold the Kickmen or Kopanito All-Star Soccer instead, and I will put links to those in the description. On the other hand, if you enjoyed this video, then please drop me a like, hit dislike if you love counting all your collectibles, and if you haven't already, please think about subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss new stuff as it rolls out. Once again, I'm the Lost Scot, and you can find links to everything important in the video description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.